Welcome back to another episode of the Mind Melt podcast. And today, this is a special one. I have 3 special guests coming on the podcast. You guys want to introduce yourself to the viewers at home?
Yeah, so my name's Leah Newberger. I'm a junior at Amherst High School. I like to dance. I like to journal, and I'm an Aquarius.
Nice.
I just turned 17, and I have a face for podcasting. And I also I did hear that joke online and thought this would be the perfect opportunity to repeat it.
There you go.
Hi, my name is Sophie Sweeting. I'm a senior at Amherst Regional High School. I didn't realize I had to prepare fun facts.
You don't have to. That was optional.
I went above and beyond.
Yeah. I'm a Taurus. I like to crochet.
Wait, you're not from the United States.
No, she's a Taurus.
Oh, Taurus. Alright.
I couldn't tell if that was a joke or something.
It was.
Okay, good. Cara answered you fully seriously.
Okay. Oh, I didn't think it was a joke. Sorry.
Nah, it's all good, you know? Alright, so what's your name?
I'm Cara. I'm
Last name?
Kingston.
And she's actually the second Kingston to be on the pod.
Yeah.
The
for
older
a lot
brother
of
was one of the
viewers.
first ones.
He's actually here
real
right
fans,
now.
they
He might
know.
make a cameo.
He's at this house.
No, he's at my house, but it's like
Okay.
2 minutes away.
Word.
Cara does the very close. And wait,
I think Mr. Metzger should make a cameo because he's really
No,
stressed
I'm
out.
gonna have
Metzger.
Mr. Metzger on at some point.
Also,
I really want to ask
there
him
is
about
a-
his
there is
real
an
I actually
audio-
don't know what Mr. Metzger looks like. I don't know who this
there is
man
an audio interference, which is the fact that all of us have this thing where when we laugh, it sounds like a seagull, and it's like,
Alright,
and
maybe we'll see it. Maybe
you'll hear it.
We all have the same laugh. It's really embarrassing.
Alright, we're gonna get straight into these questions.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
we're doing a bit of a different format for this podcast. Usually I'll do it on a certain subject or I'll have a guest on to talk about a certain subject, but this time we let the viewers decide what they want to listen to. So people asked us questions that they want answered on this podcast, and we're going to do our best to answer some of these questions. So we're going to start out with a real deep one. So how do you share feelings with an extrovert when you yourself are an introvert?
Do we first want to preface this by saying if we're an extrovert or an introvert before we answer the question?
What if we leave that a mystery and then people can decide?
People can
Enter
guess.
what
Write
they want.
in. Go to @MindMeltPodcast on Instagram and write in whether you think I'm an introvert or an extrovert based on the fact that I'm doing this.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll start,
Okay.
I guess. I never underestimate the power of a good letter. I feel like
Really?
I feel like it's a little cheesy, but I think it can also be really meaningful. And even if you don't you don't have to send it in the mail or anything. You could just give someone a note, or even if you think that's kind of weird, you want to have a conversation. I think writing something down before you have a conversation, or especially a big conversation with someone, is really important. And I think people are always tempted to do stuff over text because it's easier,
Yeah.
but I think a letter
So
is
simple.
more personal.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that, and I'm a fan of journaling and kind of just dumping what's in your head on paper. And I think that there's something different about using pen and paper rather than just your notes app or the phone. But that's actually super interesting that sending a letter or writing a letter to someone rather than speaking it, because sometimes if you're an introvert it can be hard to say what you actually want to say.
Also, one thing that's changed my perspective on relationships, even in platonic relationships, I feel understanding the 5 love languages. I'm trying to think of them.
Oh, it's physical touch,
Words of affirmation,
quality time,
gifts, and
Acts
acts
of
of service.
Alright, let's go into that a little bit.
And so
deeper.
one thing, so these are the ideas that everyone has. There's a test online, and everyone has
mine is all of them.
the love language is how you want to receive love, and it's important to know that in yourself, but it's also it's important to know that other people just have totally different ways of giving and receiving love, and to be able to learn that about people whose relationships you care about, and kind of if you're someone who really likes giving gifts and that's how you show love, but the person you're have some sort of relationship with is an acts of service person,
They don't
kind of
find it as
finding-
meaningful as
Yeah.
you think it is for you.
And
like
some
finding an
people-
even ground and understanding that.
Some people are so not words people. That's like a weird way of phrasing it.
Yeah.
But for me, words have a lot of meaning and they're super meaningful. And in the past, I've like had issues with people where they're like not super into like expressing love that way, but they think like a really big act of love is just like spending a lot of time with me. So I'll be like upset that they can't articulate things, but then they're upset that I care so much. And you just have to realize that like other people are not exactly like you. And I think sometimes, especially me, sometimes I can be like self-centered and I can be like, why don't people have the exact same views and opinions on things as me? But I think, the love languages thing is, and it's a fun little test you can take online. Everyone loves online tests.
Yeah.
True. Oh, do I talk now?
If you
You
want
would
to.
too.
My love language is definitely acts of service.
See, that's so weird because
That's, like,
mine was like
least of
2%.
mine.
I was like, I don't care about that at all.
Alright,
I
so
really care about that. Like, when I like someone, like, this is kind of weird, but oh god, I don't know. I used to, like, I would go to my ex-boyfriend's house, and I would, like, clean his room, and I, like, organized it for him. Because I'm kind of, like,
that was nice.
I'm very, like, specific about, like, organization. And, like, one time he fell asleep, and I just cleaned his whole room. And it was, like,
Okay, but
I
that's
don't
so
know.
nice.
That's, like,
Did
the
he appreciate
epitome
it?
of yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And like I feel like that's the kind of thing where like if you did that to me, I'd be like, well, this isn't like how I receive love, but like I can
Yeah.
acknowledge that like you doing that shows how
That's,
much
like,
love
the
you have to
most
give.
important thing for
And I
me,
think when you
though.
just like think about that, it just like it like helps you have better relationships when you realize that like
People
if
have-
you're always worried like, oh, they don't love me enough because they're not giving love in the way I like to give love, that's kind of unreasonable because everyone's different.
Yeah, like I love gifts. I love giving people gifts and like making things for people. Then some people just do not care about that at all. So
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll love to give people gifts, and then if I don't get them back, I'm like, oh, they don't like me. But then they'll do
Yeah.
other things, like they'll want to
Yeah.
spend
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
or they'll
There's
do like
some,
something
just
nice
gift
for
giving,
me.
and it's like crazy. She gets
Yeah.
me the best gift.
But then also, I don't want to like expect that back from people because
Yeah.
I like getting people gifts way more than I like.
that's how
receiving
acts of
gifts.
service. Like I like doing it, but then the love language of receiving is like slightly different. I feel like because I want to
Yeah,
definitely.
I think the service part is like I think service in general is about not expecting something in return and like just doing
Yeah.
it to serve other people and not trying to get something out of it. And sometimes like we fall victim to like expecting things from other people or like I'm doing this in the world, I should get something back in return when really it's just like about putting good into the world and stuff like that. So how do you guys think that we kind of learn to recognize that people have different like love languages and different ways to show that how they're feeling in their affection?
I think just communication. I mean, I think communication is the key to like literally everything, like romantic, platonic, no matter what relationship. And I know we always talk about the quiz, and people may be like, oh, that's stupid, like an online quiz isn't gonna tell me. But like it's fun and it's an easy thing, and even if you don't take the quiz, just to, like think about that, like how do I want to receive love and how do I want to give love, and just like talking to your people, like your family, your friends.
And once you recognize and understand yourself deeper, I think it just like helps you improve the way you interact with other people and you have a deeper understanding of yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the same as your ideals. Like, cause when I used to think about it, I would be like, oh, I like to receive love in this way and this way. But it's like when you actually, it's like different from how you like think you would. Does that make sense?
Like, for example, if
It
you're
is.
if you're alone and you're envisioning how you would like to receive love, it can be different than when it actually happens.
It's
the
very like
conversion.
idealized. It's like
It's
Yeah.
also different for every relationship. Like some of my friends, I show love by like being really physical and like really huggy with them, and like
Yeah.
some of my friends, I like don't do that at all,
Like,
but I
give them
still really
daps
care
or-
about that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
A
think
good
it's, like,
handshake
Yeah.
how
goes
you
a long
think
For a
way.
you
handshake.
should
For a
versus
handshake.
how you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right, should we move on to the next question?
Sure.
Okay, so this is like similar along the lines of what we were just talking about, but this is actually your question, Leah. Maybe you want to explain it, but how it's written is, do I like him or do I like the attention that he gives me?
And so technically, I didn't actually write this in.
Yeah.
this was just from the question box I created.
Yes.
But
Straight from the IG stories.
yeah. But like the idea is like I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. Like I feel like sometimes we're really attracted to being wanted, and it's hard to tangle out like whether you really like someone. I think this is like asking romantically, or whether you like the attention that this person gives you, and I feel like it's sometimes complicated to understand.
What do you think are some of the signs that you're just looking for attention, you don't actually like want to be with this person?
I think it's like when you're talking to them or when you're like getting attention from them, I feel like you can kind of tell, like just try and like substitute them with another person in your mind, or like if you take, like are there things you like specifically about them, like oh I love this person's personality trait, or like this little thing you do, or do you just like
how they make you feel?
How they make you
Yeah.
feel. Like is the attraction about you or is it about them?
Yeah.
And it can get like a little like, it can get almost like when it's like someone you might not be like I feel like this is especially a question like if you're not in a relationship with this person yet, or like you're in a talking stage, and if you're there and like this person keeps like talking and you love the attention and then they don't talk, and then you're like I need to get the attention back, and then you have to like, if it feels like you're actively having to seek it out and it isn't coming like naturally or like in an enjoyable and like a like enjoyable and like natural way, then I feel like that's a sign that it might not be like the healthiest.
Also, I feel like if you're asking yourself that question, you kind of already know the answer.
Yeah, because there's already doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to have
yeah.
doubt about something like that.
Okay.
I agree.
So that's interesting. Do you think like the questions we ask ourselves sort of are like clues into like what's actually going on around us?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think sometimes like your anxiety can get the best of you and it can make you just like overthink things, and kind of like worst case scenario. I think we had another question about anxiety, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But like your brain can be like, oh my god, what if I don't but yeah, I don't know, sometimes it's, you can tell
Yeah.
if it's like an anxiety thing, it's a real thing.
It's in there,
Ripped a hole in my pants.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're like ripped jeans, but now they're more ripped, I guess.
Yeah. I think one thing is that if you give too much weight to some of your thoughts, you're not going to be able to see clearly. Sometimes you kind of just like gotta let them like go and pass through to really like get past that and find like true
Yeah.
meaning, what's actually going on.
Wait, Cara, do you want to talk to this question?
Wasn't that a question?
What was it?
I just.
Do I like him or do I like the attention?
Oh yeah.
So sad.
I think like, I think it's like if you take, oh gosh, if you take the time to evaluate, I think you'll come up with the answer. You just have to like, sometimes you get lost in like the attention and the relationship, and then you don't take the time to think about like, is this the same, like is this how I'm thinking of it, or
And
is this just
never-
attention?
Never underestimate the power of a pros and cons list.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then, if you have to make a pros and cons list,
That's a con.
why are you making a pros and cons list?
Because you're trying to make a logical decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if
also,
there's, like,
as soon
enough
as you're
cons-
making one, like, kind
Yeah.
of already know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like I feel like, especially.
So, but
if
how do you make a conclusion on a pros and cons list if there's so many on each side?
Well, I think that's.
Some of
Are you,
them
like,
are gonna
picking
be
them-
more than
So yeah,
others.
some of them are weighted more. Like if the con
Yeah.
is like makes me feel bad about myself, and the pro is like
It's
has
like-
nice hair.
it's like-
That's
Yeah.
not the same thing.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
nice hair goes a long way. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's advice. That's like advice for all guys out there.
Get some nice hair.
If you have some
If
really
you're getting
nice
a
hair,
haircut,
it can
let a woman
balance
approve
out.
it.
It can balance out,
No,
making
that's
you feel
a
bad.
good fact right there. For
If
sure.
you're getting a haircut, check with a woman first.
If you're getting a haircut,
A haircut goes a long way.
DM Mind Melt Podcast on
No,
Instagram.
alright, you need to stop doing this. Alright.
And there will be 24-hour people waiting to answer your questions at
You
every
know,
moment.
you know who you are. Someone who needs a haircut.
If you're getting
Yeah.
a
Adding
haircut,
someone on this
you can message me
podcast.
and I will answer whether you should.
Hi,
Alright,
We'll
make
I
you a
have a
picture
question
support.
for
Yeah,
you
he has a
guys. Okay, so like, do you guys personally prefer guys like to have a little bit longer hair or like
Oh my
like
god.
shorter hair?
Longer.
Longer. Why?
It looks
How
better.
long?
How?
I don't know.
Yeah. What is longer and what
Yeah,
is
that's
shorter?
true.
Right.
I don't
Like
mean,
a man
long.
bun, or like
I mean like
Okay, like short is like a fade and like short hair.
Would you
Longer is like this to like bigger. You know
Would
what
you
I'm saying?
describe your hair as short
I
or long?
prefer
Medium.
1, 2
It has been a lot longer.
Okay.
like medium is like solid.
ear length, but like you know what I'm talking about?
Not yeah. Okay.
Like Dean
I
from
think it
Gilmore
really
Girls.
depends because I think everyone.
You should
Okay, Dean from Gilmore Girls.
Guys, I like person.
Gross.
Would you say?
I said something
She likes
unforgivable.
personality.
That's not. I mean, that's a
That's
good
wasn't
thing.
the
Honestly.
question.
No, but you need both.
And by
I think-
personality, I mean like, I guess like,
You need hair and personality.
yeah, I would say like medium, like not super, like I don't like really short hair, but
I think
I don't
everyone
know.
has a
It's
haircut
I
that
don't
looks
know.
best on them,
Yeah,
and it's
I
about
think-
finding
Yeah,
that
it really
haircut.
depends
Yeah.
on the
It's
guy.
about
I
finding
really
your
don't
voice.
And
have
it's
like
about
a type.
confidence. If you
Yeah.
and taking care of your hair, because the worst, I think longer hair is harder to take care of. So if you're gonna have long hair, you have
That's
to like
true.
put conditioner in it.
But it's also kind
And,
of impressive
like, brush
when the
it.
guy has long hair and it's like really well taken care of.
No,
Yeah.
that's a green flag.
Like it's impressive.
A green flag.
I don't know if I don't
Also,
like that
wait.
personally.
A
But it's
red
impressive.
flag is when guys are using the shampoo where it's like shampoo, conditioner,
Oh,
body
yeah.
wash.
red one.
I agree.
No,
Such a red
I
flag.
saw one at CVS and it was 5-in-1 and deodorant. Deodorant was one of
There's
them.
like a 12 in
There's
one.
like,
It's like
no.
dish soap and hand soap. It's like dish
Well, like
soap.
the like
I don't know if
the
it's
like
bad.
Myers one is like
Yeah.
61.
Oh, God.
That's disgusting. You need
like,
to have.
scares me.
I think everyone should have a
Toothpaste, it's also
shampoo and a
toothpaste.
conditioner, but that's my
It's
humble
toothpaste, it's
opinion.
nail
You
polish.
should have shampoo.
The first
Shara
question.
can come to hot tub for
How,
me.
how, okay. all right.
No.
How do we manage intrusive thoughts that cause anxiety?
Okay,
You
wait.
take something called Zoloft.
No.
Or
Alright,
So you have
Ruby,
to
stay out of this.
you have to separate the thought from like how you actually feel. Like once you think it and then you're like, oh my god, no, like I would never want that, or like whatever your reaction is to it. You're like you like take that reaction, like I had that reaction.
Okay.
And so that means that it's separate from how I actually feel. And
Okay,
you, like,
so sort
separate
of
the two.
separate your thoughts from your feelings.
And
a
you
little bit.
recognize it as an
Yeah.
intrusive thought and then you let it go.
I used to
Okay.
get like such bad intrusive thoughts when I was little, and I thought I was insane. And I didn't realize that like I'd be on top of a building and be like, what if I jumped right now? And then I'd be like, oh my god. Or I
I'm
had this really
crazy.
bad one where whenever we were driving on the highway, I had this stuffed animal I've had since I was 2. And I was like, what if I threw it out the window? Or I never would actually want to do that. But I think recognizing that like they're very common
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
kind of scary but kind of comforting.
Also, if you don't recognize that they're common, like that's gonna change your own like perception of yourself, because you're gonna be like, it's gonna change your self worth. You're like, why am I thinking this?
Yeah.
Also,
no, it's like
I feels like
it's pretty normal.
I was gonna say just like distraction is good, and like a place where I feel like a lot of people get intrusive thoughts is like driving. And like whenever I'm driving, I'm like, what if I just veered off the road right now? I'm like just like listen
What
to
is that?
music, and I feel like just listening to
Oh, I heard a really
listen
good
to
thing
music
about
or
that.
this
Pre-game
podcast.
anxiety.
Like if you
Listening to anything, just like when
Yeah,
your brain
take your
is
mind
thinking
off
about
it.
something else, like lyrics,
Music.
you don't have enough time to be thinking about all the things your
Yeah.
brain's
Also, like
processing.
thinking through like why you're having that thought, because sometimes your
Yes,
brain just like
yes.
comes up with things, and if you're like, what if I swerved off the road, and then you're like, but then I would be hurt, and I don't want to be hurt.
The other thing is like you
Which
could
seems
drive
very elementary.
with your
but-
dog or something, and then it's like you would never want to kill your
Oh,
dog.
I'm a much better driver when I'm with other people because I value
Yeah.
other people more than myself.
I'd actually say I'm a worse driver though.
Well, I would say when you're having sort of a repetitive thought that makes you anxious, it's basically a sign that something else is going on. It could be maybe trauma that you haven't dealt with, something that's affecting you that you don't know. But I think that usually like anything that's happening repeatedly is happening for a deeper reason, and it's like your responsibility to like find what's actually affecting you.
It's good to talk to someone about
Yeah,
it.
there's no
I-
shame in talking to your general practitioner, and then they can refer you.
I think therapy is a great thing. That definitely should be destigmatized. I know, like, in Amherst, I think a lot of people go to therapy. It's not super stigmatized, but in,
Yeah.
like, other places I've been, it's
Yeah.
not something you talk about. But it's,
Yeah.
like, you go to the doctor twice a year to make sure your body's okay, so you want to make sure your mind's
Yeah.
okay, too.
And like it can't do like any harm. Like it only just makes you a better person.
Yeah, and
Like
you learn
why
more
would you
about yourself.
not
And
Yeah.
there's also, if, like,
take an
there's
opportunity
resources...
to better yourself?
Like, if you're in school, there's resources at school.
Yeah.
There's resources that you can find, like, as a first step.
I think it's important.
Can I get a shout out? Yeah, Sophie.
I think it's important first to realize like who you can trust with the knowledge in your head. Like, who do I feel comfortable like sharing what actually is going on? Because a lot of times when we're dealing with problems of anxiety, like we can feel very insecure or very vulnerable about it. It's not something we want to talk to like with a stranger. So like if you can't necessarily like feel comfortable with a therapist, like talking to a close friend or family member is like definitely a great option.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or
That's
even
really
just
true.
writing it down.
Yeah, we were
Like
talking
what you were
about
talking
writing
about
earlier. Journaling is really great. I'm a big journal. And I like to do art journaling.
Okay. What's that?
It's like a journal, but sometimes I don't want to write about my feelings, so some people would call me a
really good.
hoarder. I keep like when Leah and I went to New York, and I kept like our Metro card and like receipts from
The most
stores we went to,
touristy.
and like candy wrappers.
Absolutely.
But then I put them all in my journal, so it's kind of like a little scrapbook, and
It's
then
like a
I write.
collage.
Yeah, it's like a collage
Yes.
memory journal, and then I like write little
Oh.
things about.
I feel
Or
like
sometimes when I'm like feeling a lot of big feelings and I don't know how to deal with them, it's helpful to do art. That sounds kind
when
of
I'm most
Yeah.
relaxed, I feel like it's when I'm doing like multiple things because then I don't have time to be thinking about like intrusive thoughts. So like doing things where I'm like driving and listening to music, or I'm running and listening to music. That's like a big one.
Music
Or
is
also podcasts and like journaling. Like those
Yeah.
are all things where like you don't have to think about it. The other day, I found Legos under my bed and I watched a movie and played with Legos, and I would think I was the most at peace I've been in so long. I made a little beach house. and I
Sometimes
was
you just
like,
have to play with Legos. Like, very underrated.
People talk about like healing your inner child. Like
Yes.
sometimes it's good to go back. Like kids play with toys because they're fun and they're easy and you don't have to
Yeah.
like think about it that. Or I've been playing
Yeah.
Crossy Road on my phone a bunch.
Oh,
I played the Property
And
Brothers
Crossword
game
is
when I
sick.
beat, and I just
Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, continue.
No.
So Leah, I got a question for you. You said that like finding distraction is a good way to do it. Do you think that's more of a short-term solution and it could actually hurt you in the long term?
absolutely, and that's something I'm working on because I feel like I spend a lot of my time trying to distract myself from stress, and that leads to procrastination.
Mhm.
And it's definitely like finding a balance between short term and long term is like important. It's not something I've solved yet
Yeah.
because I did turn my math problem set in 2 hours after it was due last night. That was at 2 in the morning.
I wrote him a
Fair
note.
enough.
I was like, it's only 10
I
minutes
didn't
late.
really know. Turned at 2 in the morning. But like if I just like I don't know. I'm working on it, but I'm also in high school, so I feel like I have time to
I
finish
think
it out.
distractions are good. Like short-term
Yeah.
solutions can be good sometimes, because especially when you're in that sense of like extreme panic. Like if you're having a panic attack or something, you're not really in the right mindset to come up with a long-term solution. So if you can distract yourself enough to keep yourself safe in that like small moment of panic and get to a like better place and a more stable place, and because it's a lot easier to mend and make changes when you're in a more stable place.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it can be sad, but like sometimes just getting through things is important, and it's okay to have like little cheats.
Yeah. What's up, Miles? How's it going, man?
Wait, Miles, do you know that we shouted you out in our podcast?
We
We
did.
already
Listen,
shouted you out once.
listen.
Miles
Twiggy?
Twiggy?
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
Miles?
You were
Okay.
literally there when we
For
shouted you
the
out.
ESPN bro.
But then we realized we give no free plugs on this pod.
No free.
Not at all.
I
Alright,
also
should we hop
Venmo
into the
me.
next question?
Yeah.
You'll have to
Alright.
listen to hear the
Yeah,
plug.
Alright, we're gonna hop into. So basically,
Oh,
usually
yeah.
on my podcast, I do like one topic per episode, but we did things a little bit differently. So people send in questions that they want to answer, and we're just answering people's questions in a group.
This is the next one. It's not as serious.
No, but I think it's a good question.
No, break it up. Break
What
up
is
the
it?
seriousness,
What is
I
it?
think.
Best podcast.
Nah, we're skipping that one. Okay, so the question. Come on. Okay, so
What?
the next question is, how do you get better at becoming disciplined and creating discipline in your life?
Creating habits.
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 Ruby, you're not in the video.
Oh wait, I actually
one
have.
of
Wait,
you.
after you say this.
Okay. You create habits. I mean, like, that's just how it be, right? Like, if you always commit yourself short term, it, like, never works out. So trying to create a habit is, like, just how you do it.
I don't know who asked this question, but can you elaborate on discipline?
Yeah, okay, so discipline is like, say you set a goal in your life and you know that there's certain benchmarks that you have to do on a consistent basis to do it. And, you don't always feel the best in your life, but you want to be able to do something consistently over time, regardless of how you feel. That's basically discipline. Like, for example,
yeah,
if someone wants to get like physically fit, they know they have to work out, say, 5 times a week. I have to work out 5 times a week. If I'm not disciplined at all, this is what's gonna happen. Oh, I want to go hang out with my friends. All right, skip the gym. I am not feeling good. Skip the gym. That's what happens when you don't have discipline in your life. But when you have discipline in your life, you say, oh, I don't feel good. Okay, we're going to the gym. I want to go hang out with my friends. I'm going to go hang out with my friends after I hit the gym. So it's like getting yourself to do something even when you don't want to do it.
Okay, so I'm not a good person to answer this question.
Wait, I actually have
am bad
something
at that.
topical to say.
I'm working on it.
One thing that I've been thinking about recently is a lot of the reason I think it's hard for me to stick to discipline or routine. Actually, I have 2 things to say. Is because I feel like I'm such a perfectionist that like I'll be like, I need to do this homework, and like I would rather like just do it like last minute, like get everything done in one sitting than like do half of it one night and half of it the other night. And so I feel like sometimes accepting like, you know what, it's better to like just do 50% than do nothing at all. And I feel like that's hard to come to terms with, but being like, okay, like maybe it's hard for me to work out 5 times a week, but like even if I do 4 times a week or 3 times a week, like,
and then building.
Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, well, I didn't do it the amount I said, so I guess I just won't do this at all because it's like not worth it. Like that's not a good mindset, and it's not gonna get you somewhere.
Well,
also, sorry.
Nope. Continue.
I was gonna say also another thing that helps with discipline is if you have people holding you accountable. Like
Gym
for
buddy.
example, like I dance and like I'm in a class and like if I don't show up for that class, like that screws everyone else up because like
they're
stuff.
relying
Or if you're on
on
a
you.
sports team, like those are all things where like you have to do that. So like having a friend where you're like, we're gonna do our math homework together, like at this time, we're gonna FaceTime, we're gonna do it. Like that, someone holding you accountable in that way, it's harder to procrastinate, it's easier to stick to a routine.
No,
Sorry,
I think accountability partners is super important. Another idea is this idea of mastering the art of showing up. So let's go back to the example of you want to work out 5 times a week. All you have to do is show up to the gym. That's the first way to build discipline is just whatever you want to build discipline with, just show up. And then while you're in that period, at first you can do like, all right, I'm going to do a 10-minute workout, and then you can literally be at the gym for 10 minutes and then leave.
Yeah.
But you showed up. You got yourself to show up consistently over time. And eventually, once you start building the habit of showing up consistently, then you can make everything more intense and more challenging.
Yeah.
But getting your mind to do something easy and be like, hey, I can just show up. It's not that bad.
Yeah. And that's like the whole idea of like, just like doing a little bit is so much better than just giving up.
Done is better than perfect.
Yes.
That's what I've been having to tell. Because, like, if you're so freaked out about, say, like, a homework assignment and you're, like, so stressed that you don't do it at all, that's worse than doing it. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe you get, like, a 60 or an 80, but that's better than getting a 0.
Yeah.
80% of the work takes 20% of the time.
And not beating yourself up over, like, not, like, doing things perfectly. Like, just learn to just, like, be like, you know what? Fuck that. Like, I did that. Like, I went to the gym. I worked out for 20 minutes. Like, that's so great.
Yeah.
And, like, don't compare yourself to other people. Don't get mad at yourself. Like, whatever you're doing, you're giving it all you can, and that has to be enough.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that's similar to discipline, what personally motivates you guys to strive and, like, get better in life?
It's a deep one.
I think
I do.
accountability, like what you were saying. Like I feel like I care a lot more about things when I'm like caring about someone else than when I'm caring about myself. So like group things or doing things for someone. Like I've been doing yoga classes with my friends, and so I'm like, or like when you're like going on a run with a friend. This is what I'll do because I hate running, but I'm trying to get more into it. Is I'll schedule a run with my friends because then if I don't show up, it's like shitty because I'm bailing on them. But if I just tell myself like, oh, I'm gonna go running, it's so easy to just be like, I don't really feel like it, and like no one knew I was gonna go running, so I'm not held to it. But then when I get the text like, Sophie, are you coming to the run? I have to get my ass.
I think that's an important thing you're touching on is this idea of scheduling in what you know you want to do, because if there's something you're resisting and you don't want to do and you don't schedule it in, your mind is going to come up with 5 to 10 different tasks that you could be doing instead of that task. and you're gonna convince yourself that those tasks are more important, and you end up not doing what you actually want to do. So
if it's in the calendar, it's
The
happening.
G-Cal.
Yeah.
And the
if
G-Cal.
it's in the Google Calendar, like it's getting
It's gotta happen.
I know about you guys, but I just don't do things I don't want to do. Like if I like,
How
there's,
come?
I don't know, because there's like no point to it.
I think there's a really big point to doing stuff you don't want to do.
Well, why? And
Okay.
I'll give you my reason.
All right, I think that like, if you want to live a happy life, you're gonna have to do things that you don't want to do to improve yourself,
Well,
or
there's-
to get to a place where like you're at a good mental state, because like day to day. Okay, so let's say you have a passion of playing piano. When you play piano, like consistently, you're gonna love it sometimes, but sometimes you're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to play piano at all. So that's an example of doing something you don't want to do because you have this bigger goal of like becoming good at piano.
I mean, I play an instrument, and like when I play clarinet, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to practice, but I still know that there's an outcome, and I still want that outcome.
So isn't that doing
So-
something you don't want to do?
But I still want to do
Something
it.
you want to do.
I still want to do it.
Okay.
I still want to go through.
Oh, I guess that's like a more nuanced
Okay,
look
yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
don't
right.
want to do it thing.
Interesting.
Also, I was
Yeah,
gonna
because
say,
like I don't like running, but I want to be in shape.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so basically what you're saying, Ruby, is like if
About
there's
alcohol.
no like motive or no
Yeah.
like real drive or ambition to do it, like it can
I just
suck.
literally want to
So
do
that's
it.
it's worth it for those like 10 minutes when you're running and you feel great.
Yeah.
Or the
That's
after,
also
the
the
after the
after
run.
Oh, the after
I
the run.
experienced the after
Okay,
run
but
today.
The
after
runner's
the
high?
run-
Crazy.
Yeah, runners. Well, I used to do like
I used to
not
have
crazy
like a
long
mile
runs.
run every day. I just like love. I just
No,
love.
I
being outside.
accidentally went on like a 3-mile run the other day and I hadn't gone on a run in like 2 years.
Mine was an
and it was-
accident because I had to keep turning around because people were there and I
Oh,
was
I
scared of
got
them,
lost.
like Mr. Metzger.
I used to do 6 to 7 mile runs,
6 to
and
7.
when I
That's
did
good.
that,
I
did
really-
that,
I did,
like,
like,
the
it
most I
would
did was,
suck
like,
like mile 3 to
miles.
4. I'd be like, I just want to turn around, and then like once I got to miles like 5 to 6,
Yeah.
I would get really into it.
No, but I used to feel this when
How
we
you
had
gotta
to
do
do
it.
sprints for field hockey.
Oh,
We'd have to do
brutal.
it for
Yeah.
punishment, and like I wouldn't be like, oh yay sprints,
Who is
but
this?
there's like one point when you're sprinting and it's like nice weather and you just feel so powerful, and I like
Yeah.
chased that
Yeah.
feeling.
Well,
I've
also,
done
I
that.
think that when you overcome a bit of resistance, like you feel this great power.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
your
being
mind.
like, oh I did that
You could do
Yeah.
is very
It's
satisfying.
mine.
Absolutely.
Also,
So
another
then you can tell people you went on a run and then they think you're like cool.
another
Not a good
motivational thing is that my dance teacher always says like you can do anything for 3 minutes, and I always think that.
Oh,
Like,
I
I
do it
like-
in 10 seconds and I count to 10 in my head. I'm like, I can keep running for 10 more seconds and then the 10
Yeah.
seconds resets. Or I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to that tree and then I'm gonna take
But
a
like
little
if
walk.
you're like I'm always if I'm scared of something, I'll be like, you know what? Like I can do anything in my life for like 1
She
minute
stole
of
that
my
from Grey's
life.
Anatomy. I don't even know
Can
that.
you hold your breath
Wait,
for 1 minute?
really? Okay.
I probably can.
I don't think I
I
can.
think
No,
I could.
That's a
I
Grey's
do it.
Chop
Anatomy.
your head off for
I
1
used to
minute.
like, hold my breath.
1 minute of
minute?
of literally decapitating yourself.
You can do
You got anything.
Literally
Follow your
anything.
dreams.
Okay, I'm gonna see it.
Oh god. All right.
Okay, should we do the next
Wait, me
question?
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have to
Guys,
take a
this
deep
is
breath
so
first.
fun.
Okay, 3.
Are
I'm
we
getting
holding
so
our
into
breath?
this
3,
motivation.
2,
I'm not gonna
one.
hold my
Okay,
breath.
go. I didn't breathe in.
Okay, I'm gonna, let's find the next
Okay, they're
one.
holding their breath. I'm not gonna do that, but they're going to.
Either. Which one should we do?
Mm,
Okay, I'm out at 13 seconds.
That's okay.
I can do anything for 13 seconds.
Made me
just
laugh, you
having a
screwed me up.
question.
All right, this is a question. Okay, it's the ladies might have some answers. So, the question is, how do you get advice on how to get damsels?
Yes.
And,
Be
and-
nice.
and I assume when they say damsel, they mean like girls or like women. But
I think people appreciate honesty. I think people appreciate
I don't.
transparency.
I
and-
appreciate honesty. Lie to me.
Tell me
I just think.
everything.
Why would you want to
Tell me
be? Why would you want to be with
Go in
like
the comments
someone?
right now. Tell
No,
me
why would you want to be with someone who doesn't like you? Like doesn't like your true self? Like why would you want to be around someone?
Tell me you'd
you're
date
not
me if
dating
I was
them?
a worm.
Yeah.
No, that's a stupid question. That's exactly why it's a stupid question because you don't
But
want.
it's funny.
It's just dumb.
Everything I do is a silly little joke.
It's an
That's
inside joke
well,
for
wait.
me.
Okay,
This is what I
let's-
think.
all right.
As an experienced bitch catcher.
I don't condone that statement.
Yeah,
Um,
I have
what?
Ruby's the only person here who's ever dated a woman. Well, actually, I don't know
Okay.
if you've dated.
Have you dated a woman?
Yes.
Okay. So Ruby's the only person out of
So like, I think Shire should be telling us how to get
Yeah,
damsel.
sure. How did you get your
How did you get
damsel?
damsel?
We're going in this order. I will eventually get to
Be
Alright,
yourself.
Cara. Alright, breath.
Car Kingston, it's your
Alright,
turn.
Cara.
King.
How do you get damsels?
Okay. Here's how you get the damsel. Just like compliment the damsel all the time. Tell the damsel what you like about the damsel.
Don't be afraid to share your feelings.
And
Tell the
also,
damsel to let
like,
them
just be yourself, but just like be nice to them. Don't do that weird thing where you're like mean to them. Then you're like, don't play games. It's
Don't
weird. It's
play
annoying. It's like
True.
it's confusing.
Unless they
When
like
I get
games, like
confused, I don't know about the
Settlers
other.
at the top.
Wait. I don't know about the other damsels of the world, but when I get confused, I tend to leave because it's like confusing.
Cara's little tiny woman brain.
That's interesting.
Shire thinks that's interesting.
So your advice is to like find something unique that they like about you, not just like something generic.
No, like just be
Yeah.
nice to
Be
them
nice
and just
to
be
them.
yourself.
I
And
feel
like give them attention and like just let them know
Love
that
attention.
you like them in small
Yeah.
ways.
Mhm.
And just
Yeah,
don't be
it's the
like
little
creepy.
things.
Don't be like, I like you after like 2 minutes. But like
Yeah.
just be like nice to them. Like,
Yeah, like don't be a creep.
And, like,
Obviously.
just be yourself and be nice to them.
I was gonna make a joke
can't be
and
nice to them and be
say
yourself
buy
and
them
be
lots
the
of presents, but now I feel bad because people are being serious. I think Ruby's thing about honesty was true. I think compliments are nice. Little things, just being nice. Being nice to girls like in front of your friends. Don't be like different in front of your friends.
Yeah.
Or don't like try and be cool.
Yeah.
Because I
Because you're
don't know,
not.
that's
If you're trying to
It's
be cool,
not
you
cool.
automatically aren't cool.
No.
Yeah,
being
don't
different
try to
in front of your
impress
friends,
someone, like,
don't try to
it
impress,
exposes
just be
you.
yourself.
If you try and change parts of your personality to impress someone, you're never gonna be happy in that relationship because you didn't go into the relationship being
I'm gonna feel the
yourself.
burn again.
Also,
Yeah.
respect women. It is Women's History
is
Month.
Women's History
currently.
Women's History Month.
My Venmo is Sophie Dash Sweeting for
I
reparations.
don't know what my Venmo is.
But no, and also respect women, but also realize that like a relationship goes two ways. Like when someone goes, like they have to like you back for it to work. You can't just like pick a person you like and make them like you.
Yeah.
So if they don't like you like that, it's fine. Or maybe
They don't
wait
want
3
the
years
tea.
and it'll work out.
You wanna elaborate?
No.
You said wait 3 years?
No.
That seemed oddly specific.
Baby girl!
Oh, Shire. I love that this is
I'm gonna let it
live.
pass.
We're the
I'm gonna let it
fourth
pass, but that
people
seemed
here.
oddly specific.
Baby
Alright.
girl. It was an inside joke about someone you do not know.
Oh,
Sorry.
alright. Fair enough.
He
Fair
goes
enough.
to a different school.
Alright.
No, yeah, being nice, being yourself. That's so cheesy, but being yourself and gifts.
Everyone's just echoing my advice.
Sorry. Okay, we need to.
Quality time. This goes back to the love languages
Yeah.
thing. We were talking about love languages before.
Yeah.
Figure out
What their love
her
language
love
is.
language because
Yeah.
some people really like
Can you tell people the love languages?
the love languages. There's 5 of them.
Can you tell?
There-
Alright, can we do
People
alright, can we do one person at a time speaking, please? Like I'm serious.
The
like,
5 love languages are words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, gifts. So, like, some people might really like being like hugged or being, I can't think of other physical touch, or being like cuddling or the first thing I thought was a handshake, but that's weird. Yeah, just like touching their arm. But then some people might not feel comfortable with that, but they really like words of affirmation. And then some people might not care about either of those things, but they really just like spending time with you and
Or
like that. Or they want gifts. And I think when someone says their love language is gift, people can be like, oh, that's so materialistic. But it's not, that doesn't mean like, oh, the most expensive thing ever. It's just like a little thing that, it's just the idea that like someone's thinking about you enough to get you something.
Yeah.
Also,
Like little
can
things.
you give someone a gift that's not materialistic? Can it be
It's
like
also
something?
service.
A flower that you picked
A
up.
flower, or like a note.
A note. Or like
I
if
would-
you're
A picture you drew.
like if you're in
that.
a store and you see something, you just like buy it, and it's like from like the Target dollar section, but it's like something.
Those
that
are my
person would
favorite
like.
gifts.
That's my
are like
favorite.
from the
So
Target
cute.
dollar section.
I have a question.
What's your question, Miss
Okay,
Ruby?
this is a clarifying question. Is the acts of service love language separate from the gifts?
Yeah, acts
Yes.
of service is like
Absolutely.
helping someone with their homework or like doing dishes for them, or like Cara was talking about how that's one of her ways she gives love, so she will like clean people's rooms for them, which is really sweet.
It's really weird.
No, it's really
No.
sweet.
Now, do you think there's like ways to determine just through observation, like what someone would prefer, like in these love languages?
I think it's like
Just ask.
honestly
Take the
ask
quiz.
them.
The quiz is fun.
Yeah, there's a quiz online. Oh. But like communication is key, and also you can kind of tell like if you're like trying to be physical with someone and they don't feel like I think it can be
Yeah.
but it's, yeah
Or I feel like
consent.
a very touchy person.
Leah, can I put my arm around you?
Of course.
Aw,
Consent.
see, wasn't that great?
Consent.
That's an important
That's a good
part
thing.
of a relationship.
Spread the word.
Consent is
Anyways,
key, fellas.
what? We have another question.
Yeah.
Wait, we didn't hear Shire's answer.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my answer.
How do
Well,
you do?
I
How do
obviously
you get
similar
damsels?
to you. You know, be yourself, because what is going to be the most effective way that you can be? Being the person that you know you are. If you're trying to put your energy into putting someone else, you're not as good as playing that role as you're as good as playing yourself. So like if you
Amen.
want to if you want to be a high performer, if you want to like pick up the damsels, be the best version of yourself.
Can we hear about your damsel, Shire?
No, we don't need to do that.
So that's not what this podcast is about.
Okay, next question.
Darn. Next question. Okay, one of the questions is what's the best coffee in the area? And Shire
Works
said
Cafe.
Share
Where?
coffee.
The Works
Okay.
Cafe.
I
I
can't.
think Duncan has a really
Lies.
good chai.
Lies. Share coffee.
The
Share
Works
coffee.
has a chai, which
No,
is
no,
better
no.
than both.
I'm very expert. I'm really into
Works
espresso. I'm really into espresso. I'm really into espresso. I really care about espresso.
Did you just have an espresso 10 seconds ago?
No, this is like me.
And also, if you go to the Works, you should tip a lot.
Cara works it there.
Wait, can we another?
Seems
This
biased.
wasn't a question.
I can't drink coffee, but
Just
I
'cause I
love
love
chai
Freya.
and I love share chai.
Shout
But
out
it's very
Freya.
overpriced.
This was not a question, but we were thinking of going around and one at a time.
Emphasis on one at a time.
Emphasis. We're gonna say things we recommend.
Actually, a fellow podcaster just joined.
Oh,
Ew.
What's up,
Good.
Natalie? How's it going?
Hi, who is Natalie? Hi, Natalie. It's very
Hi,
nice to
Natalie.
meet you.
Who are these people?
I don't know.
I
Alright,
don't know.
anyways.
Shire's
what-
popular.
Wait, you said go around, sorry.
Go around and we were gonna say something we recommend. Like it could be something that's like really like changed, not like changed our lives, but like something maybe we bought or like a mindset we have or like a
Can I talk about my
habit we
mantra?
have. Yeah, and we can all go around and say something that's like improved our life and that we recommend to other people.
That's a really hard question.
Do you want to go first, Leah?
Sure. The first thing I was thinking of is bomb.com by Glossier
What is
because
bomb.com?
it's right here. I have like a bunch of them because
Oh.
it's
Wait, can I?
a lip.
I
It's
thought it
a
was like a self-improvement website.
no. It's a like
No, it's
lip
lips.
balm
Never,
that
ever.
really works.
It's really
Okay,
nice.
but another
want
thing,
some?
Yeah.
another thing that
See
I
how we
actually
all want
recommend is
This is what the
I
damsels
think-
want. Sorry.
I think journaling and writing. I think one thing that's actually like really helped my life is taking like I bullet journal and I write out like my weeks like in advance and I like put little stickers on it and like I do little paintings and drawings and like I write not just like I write to-do lists, but I also write like things that I did or like if I went thrifting, like I put like little pictures of all the things I thrifted and like what my Dunkin' order that day was. And I love it because like it organizes my life and then also when I look back at it, I have this like time capsule and I'm like obsessed with the idea of like creating things for like future me to like find and like especially during COVID, like it felt like such a like pivotal moment in
Yeah,
history to
that's
just
facts.
like document. So it was just like I think it's a really good way to like center yourself and also like have memories that you can look back on and like and it's also like the process is really fun. Like that's my favorite part. So yeah, I recommend that.
Very well said. Sophie, what's something that you've done that's improved your life? Like similar topic.
I can have a few things. I've been on what Ruby Kane would call my self-improvement arc lately, where I'm trying to become a better person. A few things I'm working on. I'm working on being a better listener because one time I asked my friends if I was a good listener and they did not say yes. and it was really sad. No, it wasn't. I just felt bad. And clear, direct, honest communication. I feel like we've all had a moment where we're mad at someone and we've texted them like an "oh, okay," period.
I've gotten several of those from you.
But not recently, because I'm working on it. Because that's like so middle school and so bad. And so now when I'm really tempted to type out "oh, okay," period, I think, what is what is this adding to the conversation? And it's not. And I think instead of trying to like be passive aggressive or like be snarky with people, especially with texting, because texting is so, I don't know.
I hate texting.
Talking to people in person, having hard conversations in person. Yeah, I'm trying to think of my other, I'm chronically late to everything. This is what Leah's whispering to me, and I'm really trying to get better at it. Leah's also late to everything.
I told Sophie.
Why are you late?
I'm really not good at time management.
Yeah.
And I think it's like kind of a respect thing, which is why like I'm trying to work on it, because I was always like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but I've been realizing that like if you're late to do something with someone, you're telling them that you don't respect their time, and that's really rude. Being late to school, I don't care, but like if I make plans with someone, I want to be on time. Yeah. And things like going to the movie theater, I need to be early. I need to watch all of the previews.
Okay.
Gotta get my popcorn.
Interesting. Alright, Cara, what is your one thing?
Ooh, okay. I think, okay. I guess the switch was, like, middle school to high school, but I would be embarrassed, like, with I don't know if this is, like, when you talk to yourself in your head, or, like, when you're, like, just by yourself, like, nobody's watching you. Like, you don't have to be embarrassed of, like, you can just be completely, like, true yourself. And, like, talking to yourself in those moments, just, like, in your head. And, like, just, like, getting to know who you genuinely are. And then
That's important.
you'd start, like, because you are that person, so you will love you because you're the same person.
It's the best
And
role.
then when you each, like, meet each other and you love each other, it's, like, so nice. And then you can start being that person around other people because you love them so much. And then it's just, like, you're being your true self. And it's really good. That's, like, kind of the switch.
That's
that
better
happened to
than
me during
mine.
COVID.
Do you have like mantras you say to yourself?
My turn.
Oh wait, sorry.
I forgot to talk about my
Mantras
mantra.
anymore.
The running one you made? Who's one?
Oh, the running?
No,
Not
okay.
being embarrassed ever
Yeah.
is, like, really
That's-
fun.
There is so much embarrassment in high school, and I feel like I just like
Yeah.
it's so
It's just not embarrassing.
stupid.
I used to be embarrassed to like carry a lunchbox around. I was like, people are gonna make fun of me. But then I was like, I need to eat lunch. This is stupid.
Oh my
I
god.
had this like, okay, this is a quick story. In freshman year, I was on crutches and I had this metal water bottle, and I carried it on my crutches, and it would like bang through the because I was carrying it swing, and I was so embarrassed about it. And then I realized like I don't care. Because I need to drink.
I have this
But
one.
my three. I would say using I statements to reflect on arguments
Interesting.
is really big for me, and that I'm practicing. And yeah, learning it's not them, it's you.
It's not them, it's you.
What is it?
That's actually a very powerful quote.
Separate the person from the action. This is my mom always used to say to like this to my brother and me when we were little kids, like, you're not a bad kid, you just did a bad thing, which is very like for toddlers, but I think also sometimes it's important to remember, like, if someone did something shitty to you, separating, like, try and understand why. Like, some things are inexcusable, but if they were just like kind of rude, try and be like, okay, maybe they were having a hard day, like maybe something was going on that I don't know about, like maybe not just like automatically assuming the worst from people and separating that like one rude thing they said from who they are as like an entire person.
And forgiveness.
Yes, also.
Yeah. Yes, also. Also, yes, also. I feel like forgiveness is something that needs to be like practiced sometimes, and I think it's important because like if you're holding on to anger and resentment, like that's like something you have to live with, and like it doesn't affect the other person.
That's really
Because
true.
like the only thing that
Wait,
anger is
I'll talk
affecting
about
is it just like makes you feel shittier in your life,
Yeah.
and that's like awful.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like just getting better at being like, okay, you know what, like just letting stuff go. Like, and you don't have to like, if someone does something shitty to you, you don't have to go back to being like best friends with them. Like creating boundaries is important, but like also just like not holding on to and harboring resentment and anger is something that I think can make people
It's
feel
not hurting
better.
them, it's hurting you.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Hard.
you give.
Forgiving yourself is very important. Like in the moment too, for small things. Like when you do something wrong, or when like if you have anxiety about stuff and you did something and you're like, oh, I don't know if I took it the wrong way. Like just being like, it doesn't matter. Like it'll be fine. And like forgiving yourself for
That's super important.
small things.
Because
I think is a big part of loving
when you
yourself.
don't forgive yourself, like it becomes sort of this like weight on you. You know, like these actions we do, some have more power than other, but then it can just change your behavior in the future. You may be more hesitant to be open with other people because you feel like you may hurt them or something. Going back to what you said earlier about like being able to disassociate actions from people, because you would want the same treatment for yourself. Like I think everyone can say, oh yeah, that action I did was out of pocket that one time, like that was not a good action. And then there's always a thing like, oh, this action did not represent me as a person. Why shouldn't it be the same thing for other people?
The benefit of the doubt.